Yo, I got some bad news. Turki Alalshikh just did his spaces and he had some very interesting things that he just revealed. News to my ears, but it's good to have it on record. In this video, I will break down what was said. Now, make sure you guys follow me on social media. I'm the best in the business and it's not even close. This is on my Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. I put bad news, cliff notes. If you listen to the X spaces that Turki did with the stomping ground, Terence Crawford only wants Canelo Alvarez. Turki Alalshikh reveals that Terence Crawford versus Jaron Ennis is a good fight, but it is not a top fight that he wants to see it. So he's saying, he was asked about the fight by the reporter. Good question. What about a fight? The reporter said something to the effect of, what about a fight I really want to see, which is Crawford versus Boots? And then basically Turki said it's a great fight, but it's not a top fight. Then Turki also states that Terence Crawford will be offered a Vergil Ortiz fight. However, he says in his opinion, he doesn't really know or believe that Crawford will take it, as he only wants Canelo. Yikes. Yikes. Now, this is quite bizarre, but I want you guys to listen to it so you guys hear it yourself.
I'm going to ask you about a fight that I really like. Terence Crawford versus Boots Ennis. Do you like it?
Great fight, but not the top fight we want to see it.
Okay. What would your top next fights be for Crawford away from Canelo?
I don't think Crawford will fight anyone except Canelo.
Okay,
this is my opinion.
Yeah.
This is my opinion, and
Yes.
this is what I feel. But it is about him. We give him offer for Ortiz, and I don't know if he will take it or not. But we have an agreement to do big fight for Ortiz if Crawford doesn't take the fight.
Okay. So we could see Crawford against Vergil Ortiz next if he takes the fight.
But I don't think he will take it.
Okay.
I think he only want Canelo.
Yeah. You understand that? Or you
I understand that. I respect all the fighters. See, sometimes the people doesn't understand my character. I am in the camp of the fighters, all the fighters. If they respect their contract and doing great fight and handle us right and we handle them right, I am in the camp of the fighters, all the fighters. I am behind the fighters.
Wow.
I remember speaking to you.
Basically, he's saying that they're going to make the offer for Crawford to fight against Vergil Ortiz, but they truly believe that it is possible that Crawford has his mind made up that he doesn't want to fight anybody else not named Canelo Alvarez. Now, again, link in the description. Make sure you follow me on social media. I think this is bad news because you have Turki Alalshikh and Riyadh season. They had their first fight in America, and their first fight in America, they're saying that it lost, like reports are saying that it lost a ton of money, right? Then Turki Alalshikh kind of waged war with Canelo Alvarez. Turki Alalshikh, here's my post, you guys see it. It says Turki says he will not work with Canelo or Tim Tszyu, right? And you can't really strong arm Canelo in that way. Canelo has a telecommunications company. He has real estate investments. He has endorsement deals. Obviously, he's still an active fighter, so he's making a lot of money from just fighting. And, you know, he's, I guess, earned his right to pick his fight. Then you have Crawford. They're saying the fight reportedly did 100K buys. You guys see it on the screen. They're saying it should wind up over 75,000, maybe around 100K buys. And this is Terence Crawford. So here's the thing. Canelo's doing interviews saying 80% of his fights, like if you buy a Diet Coke at the concession stand, he said he gets a cut. He said it on this interview with Sway's Universe. The receipts are always here. So you guys don't have to believe me. I'm going off of what's being said. And what's being said and what's being reported from credible people and or the actual source, in this case, Canelo Alvarez. Canelo is doing well for himself, right? And in Turkey, I've already told you, is kind of beefing. He said he's the face of boxing, right? Things like that. They're saying Crawford fight with Madrimov lost over $10 million. It doesn't really put you in the driver's seat. You see right here, Canelo Alvarez reads Turkey's tweet and laughs in response. I've documented this well. And this was in response to Turkey, who was saying some things about Canelo after Canelo said he didn't like the way Turkey talks, right? All of the documents, all the receipts are here on my social media. Turkey rips Canelo Alvarez, says he only wants easy fights. It's right here. So I've already made videos about it. If you guys want to stay up to date with the latest and greatest in boxing, it's up to you to subscribe to my channel, because I'm not going over every single thing every time. I'm just giving you the cliff notes. So fast forward to the future, this is pretty alarming in this new X space with Turkey, where he's saying that Crawford only wants Canelo Alvarez. I mean, you just fought Madrimov, who had 11 fights. There's still other really good fights outside of Canelo. And as I mentioned, the Canelo Alvarez fight doesn't look likely, especially when the guy you teamed up with is currently actively beefing with Canelo Alvarez publicly, and that hasn't been resolved, right? And this has been well documented. So it says, just wrapped up an important meeting with my team, planning on the fights we will make 2024 to next year. I decided to disregard the Canelo fight as I don't want it anymore. So Turkey is saying that he's disregarded Canelo. Canelo's laughing at him because he's like, I don't care. I'm Canelo. You wanted to fight with me. You wanted to set something up with me. And Turkey saying he disregarded it. Crawford is not a strong salesperson. He's stubbornly sticking on wanting to fight other great fights like Boots. Turkey saying, hey, you know, that's a good fight, but that's not the top fight we want to make. But you want to make Vergil Ortiz and Crawford, but not Jaron Boots Ennis. So this is all starting to fall apart. I mean, just being real. Canelo, as we know, he's one of the faces of boxing, him and Tank Davis. He's in the driver's seat. He calls the shot. And that's just the reality of it. With Crawford doing abysmal numbers, you can't really pull rank on a guy like Canelo. And then for Turkey to have these active, I will not work with Tim Tszyu and Canelo and statements like that, it's like, how are you expecting to get this done? And then now Turkey is saying we're offering Vergil Ortiz a fight, but Crawford's so stubbornly clinging to Canelo, I don't think he'll take it, in my opinion. I let you listen to it. And it looks bad for Crawford because I think Turkey's saying that about the Boots fight because he's probably already talked about the fight with Crawford, and Crawford's team probably said they're not interested because they don't feel Boots brings anything to the table. So people feel Crawford is a great fighter, but his resume is otherwise kind of thin and kind of shaky. He's kind of surviving off of the Errol Spence win. A lot of people think Errol's maybe not the same since the car wreck, and or something was wrong with him in the fight. And then now you're a free agent when you're fighting Avanesian with the busted gloves in Omaha and getting overpaid for it. Crawford has no problem, right? Errol Spence, I'll give you that. That's, even though if something was wrong with Errol Spence, he's still a name. You beat him, and then you go to 11 fight Madrimov. But then now Turkey's saying, I don't think he'll take a fight with Vergil Ortiz. Listen, me personally, I didn't really want to see the Vergil Ortiz fight like that based on the Boachuk fight. I think a rematch is in order. But Vergil Ortiz versus Crawford makes more business sense than Madrimov. So I don't change what I said. I think it would be nice to see Vergil Ortiz rematch it, try to clean up and get a cleaner win versus BOXINGEGO, and then maybe fight Crawford. But from the sounds of it, from Turki and what he's saying, he don't think that Crawford will even take it, even though he's offering the fight, because he's stuck on Canelo Alvarez. So I don't really understand how that's supposed to work. Canelo's already given Crawford an answer. He says he's not interested. He said he gains very little. Crawford's numbers aren't strong enough to lure him into that. So you got to just hope. You got to hope that Turki can, get something done. And they're already off to a rocky start relationship wise. So I don't know. I really wouldn't hold out hope on that one fight. So to me, it sounds like Crawford kind of wants to retire, and he's just hoping for one last major payday, give it his all, and then, ride off into the sunset. But it sounds like he's kind of over boxing, to be honest, if you're that stuck on only fighting Canelo Alvarez. And that's weird because you spent all this time with Top Rank and people were complaining about the quality of fights. There's some good fights for you. You left PBC. There were some good fights over there like Tim Tszyu, Fundora, maybe Spence rematch at 54. You didn't want to work with them again, ran off to Turki, and then Turki's offering you Vergil Ortiz on a silver platter, which I think Crawford would probably win, but at least Vergil Ortiz showed a lot of heart. He hits hard. So, we'd have to see it because he's pretty durable, we'd have to see it. But I would favor Crawford, but then Turki's saying he doesn't know that Crawford will actually take it. So it's just highly confusing as to what the intent is with Terence Crawford. Same thing with the Boots fight. For whatever reason, that fight is not being made as a priority. And it just looks like Crawford wants to rob the bank, and he wants fights of his choosing, like the Madrimov fight, fights that he believes. And he doesn't care if they're big fights or not, as long as he's paid in accordance to whatever he feels comfortable with. But that's not really how it works. In order to typically, even if you're a great skilled fighter, to get the bigger paydays, you got to take the bigger risk and fight the bigger names. Vergil Ortiz, again, and this is coming from someone who I didn't even really want to see straight away, the Vergil Ortiz. I'm not anti-seeing it totally, but, I wasn't even big on it. But again, I do know I'm realistic. I know a Vergil Ortiz fight would be bigger than the Madrimov fight was. So Crawford, bad business bud. He doesn't care about people going through wasting money, getting Eminem and soccer stadiums and stuff like that for the turnout that he had, because you have an unbranded, unknown American name. And if you listen to Turki throughout this spaces, he said some other things, which I'll probably make other videos about. But he says Canelo wanting 200 mil for Benavidez. He says that's not going to happen, basically. So he said he wanted that type of outrageous money to fight Crawford because he said there's nothing in it for him. So if you only want to fight one guy and that one guy is in the driver's seat and he's naming his price and it's something steep that the advisor is saying, we're not dumping that type of money into Canelo, that's not feasible, it's not realistic, then it's like, what does Crawford do? He's just going to keep sitting on the sideline, waiting and hoping? Weird game plan, bro. Let me know what you guys think. No Boots, possibly no Vergil Ortiz. It's all on Crawford. According to Turki, he believes that Crawford is stuck on Canelo, but he's already received an answer, and Canelo already said what it was and that he wasn't trying to fight Bud. Kind of weird.